When the blackout hits, your biggest danger won't be strangers in the streets. It'll be the people right next door. Neighbors who seem friendly today will turn desperate tomorrow, and the everyday items you take for granted could become the very things they'll come after. If you don't protect them, you'll lose them. In this countdown, I'm going to show you the top 10 ordinary items you'll need to guard at all costs before the lights go out. Let's get into it. Torn. Trash bags. The survival multi-tool nobody thinks about. Most people look at a box of trash bags and see nothing but garbage duty. But in a blackout collapse, these plastic sheets become survival gold. Think about it. Heavy-duty trash bags aren't just about containing waste, they're about sanitation, storage, waterproofing, and concealment. When municipal services shut down, trash piles will skyrocket, breeding disease faster than you can say cholera. Historically, in 19th century London, cholera outbreaks killed tens of thousands, all because waste management collapsed. If your neighbors know you have trash bags, you're holding something they'll beg, barter, or steal for, because no one wants their family drowning in filth. But that's just the beginning. A single 55-gallon contractor bag can line a bucket for an improvised toilet, keeping human waste contained and disease at bay. It can double as an emergency poncho during storms, a makeshift rainwater collector, or even a solar still to purify water in desperate times. Fill them with leaves, and you've got insulation. Fill them with dirt, and you've got instant sandbags for defense. And here's the kicker: trash bags are silent. Unlike a roaring fire or loud generator, nobody knows you're using one until they see the results. That's why your stash must stay hidden. Don't leave bulky boxes sitting in your garage where curious eyes can spot them. Split them up, tuck rolls into closets, under beds, or inside bins labeled Christmas decorations. And remember this: once the stores are stripped bare, there's no replacement. A neighbor who ignored prepping won't hesitate to grab your supply when they realize every other option is gone. Protect your trash bags like currency, because in a collapse, sanitation equals survival. Without them, sickness spreads, morale crumbles, and life expectancy drops. They may look ordinary today, but tomorrow, they'll be worth more than silver. 9. Coffee. The liquid that holds civilization together. In a collapse, when alarms don't go off and offices don't exist, you'd think coffee wouldn't matter, but you'd be dead wrong. Coffee isn't just a drink, it's a chemical lifeline. Caffeine withdrawal is brutal, and in America, over 150 million people drink coffee daily. Studies show that more than 60% of U.S. adults rely on caffeine to function. Now strip that away overnight. What you'll get isn't just cranky neighbors, it's desperate, sleepless, migraine-ridden people on the edge of collapse. Coffee instantly becomes contraband, a black market item more addictive than tobacco. Imagine a neighbor who hasn't had their morning fix in 5 days. They're jittery, irritable, and spiraling into caffeine withdrawal headaches. If word slips out that you still sip hot coffee in the morning, you'll have a line at your door that won't leave quietly. But coffee's value isn't just chemical, it's psychological. A warm cup in a cold, dark world is morale, comfort, and normalcy all in one. During World War II, U.S. soldiers called coffee their lifeline in a canteen. Without it, productivity plummeted. With it, men pushed through exhaustion. In a blackout society, coffee becomes fuel not just for the body, but for the mind. So how do you protect it? First, think long-term. Instant coffee packets, vacuum-sealed beans, or even green coffee beans, which last years if stored right, will keep you ahead. Grind only what you need, and never let the smell drift out into the street. It's an aroma that travels far and screams luxury. Store your stash in airtight containers hidden deep inside your pantry, or better yet, in bins labeled as pet food or cleaning supplies. And don't just drink it, use it strategically. Coffee will be a top-tier barter item. A few tablespoons could get you fresh eggs, clean water, or even protection. Guard it carefully, because in a world stripped of comfort, your neighbors will kill for a cup of joe. You already know the stereotype: panic buyers clearing store shelves at the first sign of crisis. And there's a reason for it. Toilet paper represents comfort, hygiene, and dignity. When the blackout hits and municipal water shuts down, toilets won't flush. Suddenly, TP isn't just a convenience, it's a lifeline. You might laugh now, but during the COVID-19 panic of 2020, sales of toilet paper spiked by 845% in a single week. Imagine that same desperation multiplied by the finality of a grid collapse. Here's the ugly truth. Without TP, people will turn to newspapers, rags, or leaves. That leads to clogged pipes, contaminated hands, and outbreaks of diseases like E. coli and hepatitis A. A stash of TP, properly hidden, becomes more than comfort, it becomes public health. But here's what your neighbors won't think about. TP isn't just bathroom stock. It's tinder for fire starting, padding for wounds, insulation in boots, and even bartering gold in the new economy. During Venezuela's collapse in 2016, rolls of TP were traded at higher value than some currencies. That's how powerful this paper becomes when society falls apart. To protect yours, don't make the rookie mistake of stacking giant Costco packs in plain view. Split them into smaller bundles, compress them into vacuum bags, and stash them across multiple hiding spots, attics, sheds, even inside opaque storage bins marked as old clothes. And here's the strategic play. Supplement your stash with alternatives now. Stock baby wipes, bidets, and reusable cloth rags so you can stretch your TP supply. That way, when neighbors are tearing down trees for leaves, you've still got a clean, efficient system that nobody knows about. In collapse survival, morale matters as much as calories, and nothing sinks morale faster than filth and discomfort. Protect your toilet paper, because in a blackout world, one roll is worth far more than its weight. 7. Candles, the ancient technology that will outlast the grid. The average American hasn't thought about candles in decades, except maybe during birthday parties or holidays. But when the lights go out indefinitely, candles become the fallback technology that bridges darkness with hope. Before electricity, entire civilizations depended on candles for survival. And you'll quickly learn why, once the blackout drags past night 1. Darkness isn't just inconvenient, it's terrifying. Crime thrives in the shadows, and fear multiplies when families can't see their own hands in front of their faces. A single candle flame provides light, warmth, and psychological comfort in ways a dark room never will. But here's the problem. Candles run out, and producing them at home requires wax, wicks, and molds that 99% of your neighbors won't have. That means your modest stash of tea lights or emergency candles will instantly become high-value targets. Worse yet, they're small, portable, and easy to steal. A pocket full of candles could mean a month of light for a desperate family. And don't underestimate fire's draw. Neighbors will see the faint glow through curtains, and light at night screams one thing: resources inside. So how do you protect them? First, diversify. Stock long-burning emergency candles, beeswax blocks, and even survival-grade liquid oil candles that last for days. Hide them in plain sight by mixing them in with household decor or labeling bins as holiday supplies. Next, think safety. Candles are dangerous in collapse settings. Fires can burn down entire homes without fire departments to save you. Keep sand, baking soda, or a fire blanket nearby for emergencies. And don't forget bartering. A single candle could trade for food, clean water, or even medicine. In the blackout world, candles will be civilization in miniature. Guard them, ration them, and never advertise you have them. Because once night falls, the flame in your home could attract far more than just moths. Vinegar, the forgotten survival chemical. When neighbors are raiding pantries for canned beans and peanut butter, they'll overlook one of the most powerful survival liquids you can own: vinegar. And if you've got it, you're holding an invisible treasure. Vinegar isn't just a condiment, it's disinfectant, preservative, and medicine rolled into one. Let's start with preservation. In a world without refrigeration, vinegar becomes your shield against rot. Pickling vegetables, eggs, even meat can extend their shelf life by months, sometimes years. Historically, entire armies survived winters on pickled rations. Without vinegar, they'd have starved. But it doesn't stop there. Vinegar is a cleaning powerhouse. It kills 99% of bacteria, wipes out mold, and deodorizes surfaces, all without fancy chemicals that your neighbors will run out of in days. In a collapse, when infections can kill, vinegar isn't just convenient, it's life-saving. And here's the secret most won't realize. Vinegar doubles as a first aid tool. It can soothe insect bites, disinfect wounds, and even be diluted into ear washes or gargles for sore throats. That little jug in your pantry is practically a survival pharmacy, but its stealth value is what makes it dangerous to hold. Neighbors won't think about it until they need it, and when their canned peaches are rotting, or their children are sick from dirty surfaces, they'll suddenly remember that one prepper guy who always had supplies. Protect your vinegar by storing it in repurposed containers, juice bottles, cleaning supply jugs, anything that makes it blend in. And don't brag about your homemade pickles or natural cleaning hacks, because in a blackout world, even casual words can turn you into a target. Stock white vinegar, apple cider vinegar, and distilled options now. They last almost indefinitely when stored properly. In collapse survival, vinegar isn't just liquid, it's leverage. Guard it like medicine, because 1 gallon could mean the difference between health and disaster. Spices, the tiny powders that will spark wars. Right now, your spice rack might feel like nothing more than a flavor luxury, but in a world where bland beans and rice become the daily menu, spices will transform into survival assets. Think about this. For most of human history, wars were fought over spices. Black pepper was once valued as highly as gold, and European empires spent centuries slaughtering each other to control the spice trade, because a pinch of salt, pepper, or cinnamon could turn moldy bread and dry meat into something worth eating. Fast forward to a post-blackout world, and the same logic applies.
When your neighbors are choking down unseasoned beans day after day, and they smell cumin or garlic drifting out of your kitchen, they'll know you're hiding treasure. But spices aren't just about taste, they're about health. Turmeric, cinnamon, ginger, and garlic all carry antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, and immune-boosting properties. In a collapse with no hospitals, these aren't seasonings, they're medicine. And don't overlook salt. It's more than flavor, it's electrolyte balance, wound cleaning, food preservation, and even currency. During Rome's height, soldiers were sometimes paid in salt. That's where the word salary comes from. If you think your neighbors won't covet it now, you're underestimating desperation. So how do you protect them? First, diversify. Stock both bulk containers and small packets you can hide in different locations. Seal them in airtight jars to keep them fresh, and stash extras in containers labeled as baking supplies or pet food. Second, ration strategically. Don't burn through your spice supply early on, stretch it out to last years. And remember the barter value. A teaspoon of chili powder could secure you a trade of fresh produce or medical supplies. Guard your spice rack carefully. In collapse survival, flavor equals morale, and morale keeps families from breaking down. Once your neighbors realize you can make beans taste like chili, you'll become the most hunted cook on the block. 4. Soap. Civilization in a bar. When the lights go out and garbage piles up, nothing will separate the sick from the healthy faster than one forgotten item, soap. Modern life has conditioned us to take cleanliness for granted, but history proves otherwise. During the American Civil War, more soldiers died from disease than from bullets. Lack of hygiene killed them. In today's collapse scenario, soap isn't just about smelling good, it's about stopping outbreaks of cholera, dysentery, and staph infections that spread like wildfire when water runs dirty and waste is everywhere. A single bar of soap becomes the frontline defense against the invisible killers your neighbors won't see until it's too late. And here's the kicker, people won't think about it until they're desperate. They'll scavenge food in batteries, but overlook hygiene until rashes, infections, and lice infestations cripple them. That's when your hidden stash suddenly turns into life-saving gold. Soap has more uses than you realize. It disinfects wounds, repels insects when smeared on skin, lubricates zippers or tools, and can even protect crops. Diluted soapy water kills aphids on plants. In barter terms, it's priceless. During Venezuela's economic collapse, hygiene products like soap and toothpaste became black market gold, traded for food and even favors. Protecting your soap means hiding it smart. Remove bars from packaging, and stash them in airtight containers to prevent strong scents from leaking out. Hide some with cleaning supplies, others with linens, and scatter them across your home so if raiders find one stash, they don't get them all. And don't flaunt your cleanliness. Neighbors will notice if your kids stay spotless while theirs look filthy. Soap is civilization in a bar. Protect it, ration it, and know that once it's gone, disease isn't far behind. 3. Flashlights, the beacons of betrayal. In normal life, a flashlight is something you throw in a junk drawer and forget about. In a blackout collapse, it's a beacon that can betray your location instantly. Think about it, darkness will blanket neighborhoods, and the human eye can detect even a tiny flicker of light from hundreds of yards away. If your neighbors are stumbling around blind and they see the glow of a flashlight through your curtains, they'll know two things: you're prepared, and you're worth following. That's why flashlights, headlamps, and lanterns will become both essential and dangerous. They let you navigate, repair, and defend yourself, but they also scream resources here. Protecting them isn't just about hoarding batteries, though you'd better have rechargeable ones with a solar panel. It's about discretion. Blackout covers, red light filters, and using low lumen settings can help minimize your glow. And you'd better plan ahead. Stock different types: small pen lights for stealth, heavy-duty tactical flashlights for defense, and headlamps for hands-free work. Diversify power sources too. Rechargeable lithium-ion, crank-powered, even lanterns with built-in solar panels will give you options when others are stumbling blind. Here's what most don't realize: flashlights aren't just about light, they're morale. Darkness breeds fear, and fear breaks families apart. A simple beam cutting through the night gives people a sense of control. That makes your stash of flashlights worth more than food in some scenarios. But remember, they're small and easy to steal. Don't leave them lying around. Hide extras in toolboxes, coat pockets, or even hollowed-out books. In barter, one working flashlight could secure you weeks of supplies, because nobody wants to live blind. Protect them like they're weapons, because in a way they are. In the blackout, your flashlight is hope, but to your neighbors, it's temptation. 2. Matches and lighters. Fire in your pocket. Here's the truth. Humanity's entire survival depends on fire. Without it, food rots, water kills, and cold weather finishes the rest. And in a blackout collapse, fire isn't optional. It's life itself. But here's what your neighbors won't think about until it's too late. Starting fire without tools is nearly impossible. Yes, you can rub sticks together, but in real life, you'll burn through hours, energy, and sanity before you get a spark. That's why matches and lighters, ordinary, everyday items become survival gold. During World War II, Zippo lighters were so prized by soldiers that some traded food rations just to keep theirs working. In a blackout world, your stash of Bic lighters and waterproof matches will carry that same value. Here's the catch: they're tiny, portable, and easy to steal. One neighbor slipping into your shed could walk away with months of fire-starting power in their pocket. Protecting them means concealment and redundancy. Hide them in different stashes, a few in your kitchen, a few in toolboxes, and some vacuum-sealed with emergency kits. Keep extras in places your neighbors would never check, inside old shoeboxes, tucked into winter jackets, or hidden in coffee cans. And here's the part most forget: fire means smoke, and smoke means trouble. Cook low and slow, use efficient stoves, and avoid broadcasting your meals with plumes of smoke visible for miles. Matches and lighters will also become barter items of insane value. One lighter could be traded for food, ammo, or protection, because in a world without fire, nothing moves. Guard them well. In collapse survival, fire is more than heat, it's civilization. If your neighbors discover your stash, you'll have a target on your back the size of your own flame. At the top of the list, it's the one item you already know, but you don't realize how desperate it will get: food. Right now, Americans waste nearly 30% of the food we buy. But in a collapse, every crumb becomes sacred. Studies show that grocery store shelves start running dry within 72 hours of a supply chain disruption. Add a blackout, and refrigeration dies. Suddenly, meat, dairy, and frozen goods rot in days, leaving nothing but dry goods to fight over. Here's the harsh truth: your neighbors may seem polite today, but when their kids are crying from hunger, morality goes out the window. History proves it. During the siege of Leningrad in World War II, over 600,000 people starved to death, and neighbors turned on each other for crumbs of bread. If they know you've got a pantry of canned goods, you won't just be a neighbor anymore. You'll be a target. And it's not just about calories. Food equals power. Whoever controls food controls community. And in collapse survival, food is both life and leverage. Protecting it requires strategy. Never keep it all in one place. Stash some in the pantry, some buried in waterproof bins, some disguised as non-food storage. Rotate supplies to prevent spoilage, and keep quiet about what you have. Don't brag about your garden or your canning projects. Even casual comments will stick in desperate minds. And when you do cook, keep it discreet. Smells travel far, and nothing draws a crowd faster than the aroma of stew in a starving neighborhood. Food will also be currency. A single can of tuna could buy tools, labor, or loyalty. Protect it fiercely, ration it carefully, and know this: in a blackout collapse, food isn't just survival. It's civilization, it's power, and it's the line between life and death. When the lights go out and desperation takes hold, it won't be gold, cars, or fancy gadgets that people fight over. It'll be these everyday items, the simple, ordinary things sitting in your house right now, that suddenly become priceless. And once your neighbors realize you've got them, you'll move from being a friend to being a target. That's the reality of collapse. Preparation isn't just about stockpiling, it's about protecting, hiding, and outsmarting the desperation around you. So guard what's yours, stay quiet, and never underestimate how fast the people you know can change when survival is on the line.